Since ACLD's art studio began, we've invited guest artists to come share their art and teach a lesson. I'm glad we get to continue online with Lesson 8's graffiti lesson with Eliot. Hi, hope this video finds you well. Before our guest artist Eliot comes out, here's a little background on his creative career. Eliot started young as a graffiti artist and had done projects around his local Queens neighborhood, spray painting the rolled down gates and other public spaces for local stores, or even getting commercial gigs with other graph artists, such as creating a piece for an MTV commercial. He then spanned into fashion design in the 90s when streetwear fashion started getting popular. For the next 2 decades, with Eliot's eye for design, along with his talented team, their clothing creations had graced fashion shows, magazines, and styled celebrities in Hollywood, sports, and music. Currently, he transitioned into designing home and business interior and exterior spaces, but still creates, collaborates, and curates with other artists for street art murals throughout the New York boroughs, which have appeared in newspapers all over social media and other news outlets. And here is our guest artist, Eliot, who also happens to be my husband.
Hey everybody, looking forward to this lesson number 8 as I take you through a simple way to write your name in graffiti. I want you guys to have fun with it. Don't get discouraged if you don't get it the first time. It takes time, it takes practice, but I want you guys to be creative, just do the best you can, and I look forward to seeing what you guys have at the end.
Yeah, let's do this.
Let's go.
Here is a graffiti alphabet template that Eliot made for you. You may want to pause the video and either take a picture of it or a screenshot so you can use it as a reference.
Before we get started, I wanted to run down a few of the supplies that you'll be using and tools for your project. First and foremost, we will start off with a white piece of paper. In this case, I'll be using paper. If you're using a canvas and acrylics, here you'll be using some thinner brushes. For us to get started, as I mentioned, we're going to be using a paper. This step you'll be using for first step is a pencil and an eraser to kind of start getting your sketch underway. Some of the other supplies you'll be using are some markers, a black marker for outlining, if you have a paint marker, or a black Sharpie. First step. I will be using a guide in which I had already started, and just to kind of run down, and in this step I will be using a Sharpie to re-outline everything to show you each step as I go along so that you can follow, whether it's on paper or on your canvas. What we'll be doing today is you'll be learning how to write your name in a graffiti style letter. So as I have my illustration here of the steps that I did for you, simplified it and broken it down, I wanted to kind of go each step by step as to your beginning and to the end. So first of all, in my case, I'm going to use the word car, for example. So what you want to do is you want to draw out your letters. So your letters would be your name, and I'm using the word car. So what you want to do is, in pencil, you're going to write out your name, and here I have the word car. So I'm going to use my Sharpie to demonstrate with you and follow the steps as you go. So basically, you're going to write out your letters as how you want them to appear on paper or on your canvas. So after you've done that, this is what it should look like in the first step. Next, what you want to do is, now that you have all your thin lines, you're going to want to make these lines bigger. So what you're going to do, I'm going to draw this out here. This is what you have. So what you want to do is you're going to beef up your letters. So what you're going to do is kind of draw around them and kind of like trace around where you wrote your thin lines, and kind of go around and form the shape of your letter. start from the top, you can start from the bottom. There's no really wrong way, whatever's comfortable for you. Next, what we're going to do, once you have your letters built up like this, we're going to go to the next step, step number 4. So you want to now start adding a little bit extra parts to your letter, just to kind of create it, give it some character and give it some shape. So what we're going to do is, you know, these extra parts are going to be parts that you add to your letters to kind of just give it some characteristics. So what you're going to do is, maybe you can want to pull out a little part right here, you know, and would you like to add these little chips, just little pieces over here, just to kind of just give it some extra flair. So as you see in part 2, we had a straight line here, so maybe you just want to add a little extension right there and kind of play and add some shaping around the letters, just so that they're not straight and flat. So going up to the R, before we had this straight line here in the back, maybe just add a little tail back here, and then round it off, bring it back down, up, and then maybe, yeah. So if you notice in these parts after over here, I added some little extensions to kind of just give the letters a little bit of shaping. Just I'm keeping it very simple for you guys, so that you know. But again, if you want to explore a little bit and kind of put arrows somewhere or anything like that, you're more than welcome to do so. There's no right or wrong way, you know. It's your creation at this point. This is where the part is where you start connecting everything. You're going to be erasing and cleaning up all your pencil lines on what you did. I already went ahead and I outlined everything with my Sharpie on how we wanted to kind of connect some of the letters, and all the new parts that you added on and little chips and everything kind of start outlining, so that it's all cleaned up. And this is the next step of how you stylize your letters from part 4. So once you have everything cleaned up, at this part you can actually start beginning to add some color to it. I'm just going to keep it simple and just use a single color. I'm going to use a gray. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, it's kind of like we're going to be doing is like coloring in, like if you're doing coloring in a coloring book and keeping everything in between the lines. So basically you just want to go side by side, just fill in all your letters. And you don't have to fill them in all solid. You can kind of play around at brush strokes and patterns or things like that, just to kind of, you know, play around with it. So it's your creation again. So feel free to be creative, and if you want to use one color, you can use 2 colors. You want to color each letter a different color. It's up to you. So once you have your letters outlined and cleaned up, you want to move on to our next step. Would be we're gonna sketch out in pencil our drop shadow. So my example A here shows a drop shadow effect. So basically what it's going to do is just kind of give the letters a little bit more movement, kind of just the whole effect of kind of popping out, and you know, opposed to being very flat on the paper. So for the drop shadow, what you want to do is kind of, you want to, in this case, I'm going to come this direction and from left to right. So I'm basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shadow out, kind of just draw a line, pull down and out to the right, just to give a nice effect here. So you're going to pull it out, just kind of just the same shaping of the letters, and just kind of just outline them out. It's kind of giving an extra little layer toward the side. Here, just going to pull down and out at the edge. You do the same thing for, since we're going from left to right, Anywhere there's spacing here, you pull it out and create a shadow effect to it. So down and out, inside here, down, around, in, and out. So basically you can do that with all your letters, no matter what letter it is. Just kind of anywhere toward the right side of the letter, you pull it out and down. Okay, so once we're done with that, this is what it should look like. You can pull it out a little thicker, thinner. There's no wrong on how you want to do it. If you want a thicker effect, a thinner effect, it's up to you. So my example would be if you want to get a little bit more and challenge yourself, it's called the 3D. So basically it's giving your letters a little bit more of an effect and more of a pop-out effect and make them more three-dimensional. So what you're going to do is we're going to do it from the 3D popping back. So that looks like the letters are jumping forward. So what we're going to do is on all the angle points down, we're going to kind of just, in this direction, is pull the 3D this way. Again, you can pull the 3D thinner, you can pull the 3D thicker, it's up to you. In this case you don't want to go too thick because of spacing. So as you see now, the letters look like they are pulling forward, and it gives a nice illusional effect. Again, if you're up to it, you know, you can try it again, practice it as well. And again, since we're going to be using a black outline, a Sharpie, you know, whatever your outline is, you can try to keep your drop shadow the same color, or even your 3D the same color, you know. So once we're done with that, and again, these would already be colored in already. So back going to the step before. So what we'll do is I'm going to show the example here on the drop shadow one, as far as what we will be doing next. So once you have your drop shadow set in, what we're going to do is now we're going to kind of want to use like a nice pop color. So in this case I'm using black to fill in as gray. I'm going to come in with a very bright orange just to kind of, you're going to see now the letters how they are, just, you know, there's no effect really to it. So aside from the drop shadow, so you kind of want to bring it out a little bit more. So what we're going to do is kind of like outline and highlight it, kind of like another border outline around everything. See, once that orange goes in and you kind of outline it, you're kind of cleaning everything up, nice and straight lines. Go all the way around. Now you see the letters to your piece now jump out a little bit more, as you can see. So now once that's done, don't worry about the black. The black should be no problem. So basically, if you don't use an orange, or say a pop color to the black, could be a yellow or a nice bright color. It's your choice. So once that's done, we are down in this direction on the next step. So the border and adding the color orange and all that has been set. So what you want to do also too is you can get a little bit, you know, creative. You maybe add some little circles, bubbles. You know, you can do them in groups of threes, one big, one medium, one small. You know, kind of put them in different areas just to kind of just add a little bit more to your border and just a little bit more style and little nicks and knacks, as you call them, around your name. Once your border's done, then now you kind of want to add now this effect to it. So it's kind of going to add a little bit of what I like to call some clouds and small bubbles, and you know, you can kind of play around with it and pull it. So it's like little floating clouds in the background, like bubbled clouds. And if you want to kind of pull it so that you see like it's kind of like pulling out and, you know, just like kind of disappearing toward the end, you can do so. And again, you know, you can get a little creative. You can put little bubbles here, small little bubbles here, in groups of 3, 2s, 1s. You can kind of scatter them around in different areas. So it's like, you know, little bubbles fading away. Just creates a nice little effect. So once that's done, you know, if you want, you can still go back in and inside the letter. Since I had a solid gray, maybe you take, or what I did is I took a darker tone of gray in this case, or if you have a lighter red or a lighter blue, you can come in with a darker blue and kind of just add little circles inside, or, you know, just little waves, just to kind of give it some nice little effects inside and stuff. So as you see, coming from step number 6, how flat everything was and just there's nothing, now you kind of beefed it up. And getting to the last phase, now you're layering everything up. Now you have a background, so it kind of makes everything a little bit pop a little bit more, and it just adds more to your name as you build up on it. So once this is done, you are pretty much complete.
Thank you so much, Eliot, for being here and being our guest artist.
Thank you very much, guys, for having me. It was a pleasure. Thank you for letting me rock out with you guys. I can look forward to checking out all the wonderful creations you guys come up with. And remember, there's no wrong way. Just, you know, let your creativity grow.
And I want to show you, I tried it myself, so I tried, and I did use highlighters.
You did a good job.
So if you tried this, I would love to see your artwork, and then just throw me an email, which is going to be below, and have fun. Happy graffiti.
Take care.